Hello YouTube, it's oozePOP yet again. And I'm going to talk about the 10 best films of 2022. Now, I've always liked movies. Who doesn't like movies? This is America. All we do is sit down and waste our lives staring at screens. That's what we do. But for some reason, within the last year, I've really gathered an appreciation for film, at least in my opinion. So I've compiled a list of what I believe to be the top 10 best films of 2022. oozePOP's top 10 best films of 2022. The first film I'm going to talk about is X, starring Mia Goth and Kid Cudi. And Jenna Ortega. I didn't even realize she was in it, but now I do, after the fact. Now, I wasn't familiar with Jenna Ortega before to me she was just another actress. But apparently she's in X, and I guess that's cool. I don't really care for Jenna Ortega all that much. She's just relevant, so she's worthy of mention. Wow! But I really fell in love with A24 within the last year or two. And I think the movie X is a good example of what A24 is all about. They just want to make weird, quirky, unique movies that you might not normally see. Anyway, X is a horror movie. Although, is it that scary? It's more of a slasher flick, right? It's got a funny premise. It's about these young adults who want to become famous. So they're filming a porn. They're renting out a farmhouse so they can secretly film a porn. And things don't go as they should. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to spoil it too much. But if you're a fan of Mia Goth, you should watch this movie. If you're interested in seeing Kid Cudi acting, this is a good movie to check out. Now, I thought Kid Cudi was better in the recent House Party movie. But still, he's not bad in this movie. If you're a fan of slasher flicks, if you like A24, if you like Mia Goth, this movie is for you. The next movie on my list, number 9, since the last one was number 10, number 9 is Nope, the Key and Peele movie. I forget which one is the one that directs it. Is it Key? Is it Peele? I don't know. I just started doing this recently, okay? But I liked this movie. This was a really interesting, I guess I would call this a horror movie. It's more of like fear of the unknown, right? This movie is scary because you don't know what is going on really until the end. And even then, once you figure out what's going on, it's not like you could have guessed it. It's so crazy and bewildering and just out of this world. But I thought Nope was a fantastic movie. It's got Keke Palmer in it, and I forget the other gentleman's name. But we got some really good acting performances here. Nothing like performance of the year status, but it was a really good movie that builds up tension and just keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. The visuals of this movie are very beautiful. Spoiler alert. If you don't want any spoilers, don't watch any of this video. I really liked the scene where it shows the sky cloud creature thing swallowing people. It's really hard to really tell what's happening, but just because you could tell it's weird, and you can't help but be grossed out by it, even though you don't know what's gross about it because you don't know what you're looking at. I thought Nope did an excellent job of being a horror movie, but not so obviously a horror movie, right? It's more of a suspenseful thriller movie. And it's, again, the horror aspect comes from like fear of the unknown, fear of what the hell is happening? Do we even really have something? Are we all just going crazy? I don't know. It was a good movie. I liked it. At number 8, it's the movie Scream 2022. I guess you could call it Scream 5. The one with Jenna Ortega. I enjoyed this movie. I started binge watching the Scream franchise because the first 2 movies were free on YouTube, and then I watched Scream 3 on some random website, and I watched maybe Scream 3 was on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure Scream 4 might have been on the, no. Yeah, Scream 3 I saw on a random website. Scream 4, I don't know. All I know is I watched Scream 5, the one I'm talking about now, on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there. It was on Netflix for a while. Now, I know people are probably going to be mad at this take, but I think this movie is better than the classics. Wes Craven was trying to make a mockery of horror slasher flicks with the Scream series. And it only got more ridiculous as they went on, right? I know this is your favorite scary movie of the 90s, right? Because it has all these attractive 90s actors. I know. But the movies got kind of garbage, right? You don't think so? You don't think, like, one, okay, it's ridiculous, but I get it because it's the first, right? And if you don't, there's no context, it's like, okay, fine, it's a cheesy movie that's making fun of cheesy movies. But then Scream 2, still enjoyable, but starts becoming cringe. Scream 3 and 4 are almost irredeemable, right? Very, very terrible movies to where it's like, it's a little too self-aware. We're a horror slasher flick that's making fun of horror slasher flicks that make fun of horror slasher flicks. God, such a horrible idea. In the new Scream movie, it's an update on the series, kind of. They refer to it as a requel. I kind of dig that. They're basically rebooting it. They acknowledge everything of the past, and they decide, you know what? We're gonna only incorporate the ridiculousness we want to incorporate, but we're gonna still have this movie make sense and be satisfying. One of the themes in Scream, in the series, the sequence of movies that we've got, this saga, one of the recurring themes is they try to shove it in your face who the killer is, and then they just kind of pull the rug from under you, and it's actually this person, right? They try to make it obviously person X, Y, or Z, and it turns out to be none of them. All of the people you think is the killer ends up getting killed, right? However, if you ask me, Scream 5 or Scream 2022 kind of moves in the direction of maybe your first guess was correct, right? But I don't think this ruins anything. In fact, I'm sad to say it, but it seems like with Wes Craven not being involved, they can kind of focus on finer details that make this movie better. Maybe Wes Craven just had this idea that these movies had to be unbearably cheesy. They had to be. And there was just no dropping it. Now in this movie, there is some cheesiness, some clear, obvious cheesiness. People that survive multiple stab wounds and come back for revenge. Very, very cheesy. But it's a little bit more realistic. It's a little bit more satisfying. The pieces fit a little bit more cleanly in this movie. I'll shut up now. I liked Scream. At number 7, we've got Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, okay? Yes, this movie was really impressive. I might even like this movie more than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's such an adorable children's movie. I do not like children's movies anymore, and so when I get impressed by one, I find that to be very valuable. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish proves that the world needs more Shrek. We need more Shrek. We need more Shrek. I think that this movie was very adorable, very satisfying. Damn it. You'll notice two different kinds of animation style. The regular 3D animation, DreamWorks animation that you expect out of like a Shrek movie. And then this like 2D comic booky video gamey animation. I don't quite know how to explain it, but when the action gets heated, it becomes kind of 2D. It's still 3D motion, but it's more drawn than animated. I really like this. I just really like it. I think it works very well. This movie's just good. If you didn't watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you really missed out. Very good movie. Take your kids to see it if you have children. At number 6, it's Tar. Tar is a movie starring Cate Blanchett about a music composer who's essentially the queen or king of everything. It's a story of how you watch the king fall, right? That's what Tar is about. It's done in a very beautifully artistic way. It's a very straightforward movie. It reminds me of the movie Funny Games. Now hear me out for a second, okay? I saw the American version of Funny Games a long time ago with my mom, and she didn't like it, but I liked it. At least I remember, that's how I remember it. Maybe my mom did like it, but kind of a spoiler. I'm gonna spoil both movies here a little bit, okay? Funny Games, it just happens. It's a movie in which two brothers, I think they're twins, end up kidnapping a family, and they basically slowly kill all of them off. At the very end of the movie, I remember they're driving the last person. It might even be two of them. They're driving the last member or members of the family driving. They're boating them out into the middle of the lake, right? And you're sort of thinking in the back of your head, maybe they can still escape this. Maybe this person can still, like, they're tied up and they're gagged and everything seems to be pointing against them, but this is a movie, right? It's got to have a good ending, right? No. They just get thrown into the middle of the lake and the movie ends, and that's just it. There's no, like, moral of the story. It just happens, and I actually quite like it. I don't know why. Just sometimes a movie doesn't need a fairy book happy ending. Sometimes a movie just needs to be solid and good, and I think that's what Tar is. Tar just happens, right? It's just a composer and her story. Her success story, well, she's already successful when the movie starts, but you notice the building up of things falling apart. The ending was a little awkward, but I guess it's a very realistic and humble ending. Regardless, Cate Blanchett's performance was really good. If you're a music snob like I am, you'll love Tar. At movie number 5, or film number 5, it's The Black Phone. Seriously, this was a really good movie. This was like a Stephen King movie. And if I'm not mistaken, this movie is based off of a book that's written by the son of Stephen King, or maybe the screenplay was written by the son of Stephen King. So Stephen King's influence is definitely felt here, and I felt it before I even knew he was even tangentially involved here. So if you like Stephen King type things, The Black Phone is for you. I'm just gonna say that right at the start, because this movie just screams Stephen King, Stephen King, Stephen King. It just does. It's like a scary horror movie. This movie plays out exactly like a Stephen King movie would. It's about a boy who gets kidnapped by the Grabber, and he can use this black phone to listen to the voices of all the other kids that the Grabber killed, right? These voices, these ghosts, eventually help the kid escape the house, which seems like an impossible horrifying task, right? Now, Ethan Hawke, he plays the grabber. I didn't realize that I like Ethan Hawke until this movie. I've seen lots of Ethan Hawke movies, but you don't think to yourself, I like Ethan Hawke. I think he's a good actor. I want to see an Ethan Hawke movie. You know, but you do when you see this movie. God damn, he is such a good villain. Anyway, if you like Stephen King and you like that extreme traumatic horror that has a satisfying ending, you will love The Black Phone. I love The Black Phone. Really good film. At number 4, it's Marcel the Shell with shoes on, baby. Shoes. This movie was so awesome. Marcel the Shell with shoes on is a simple and adorable movie that you can enjoy whether you're 5 or 6 years old or you're 80 years old. It's a family movie, just really adorable. It's about a boy named Marcel, and he's a shell. He's been separated from his parents, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. If I'm being honest, I'm probably going to screw up this part of the review because a lot of these movies I saw a while ago. They're not fresh in my mind anymore. I don't really remember them all that well. But I really liked Marcel the Shell with Shoes On just because I remember it being very heartfelt, very happy, very cute. The voice acting really works. The type of movie that it is very timeless. You've got like the interviewer guy, the journalist guy, making a story about Marcel, trying to help him achieve his goal. I believe it's find his parents, find his family, find the other shells. And it just plays out really cute. You even kind of start to lose hope a little bit at some point. It starts to look kind of scary and daunting, but ultimately it all comes together to form a really adorable movie that I will not forget. And just further shows that A24 is a force to be reckoned with. A24 makes good movies, and Marcel the Shell is one of them. At number 3, it's Top Gun Maverick. I was very impressed with this movie. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, but I remember my pal, Better Call Cyrus, otherwise known as Broken Web. Sometimes we call him Broken Cyrus. Better Call Web. Likes to get his face smashed in the ring. WWE 2K22. You're going down, motherfucker. Anyway, this guy told me that Top Gun Maverick was a good movie, and so I believed him. And guess what? Broken Web. Better Call Cyrus. You were right. This movie is good. You were right. Well, I'm glad that I watched it. It is a good movie, very action-packed. You don't need to have seen the first one to watch this one and get a full picture. I gave this movie a 9 out of 10 when I reviewed it. I feel like if I watched the original movie, I'd probably have given this a 10 out of 10. There's a lot of nostalgia at play here. I think I probably did watch the movie when I was younger, actually, but I'm not going to remember these dumb 80s, 90s movies, dude. I barely remember movies I watched this year, okay? Anyway, this movie's really cool. If you like good camera work, most of this movie, the camera's in the cockpit looking at the pilot. And as boring as that might sound, I think it works very well. Lots of action, lots of close calls. I think this is pretty much a perfect movie until the end. Broken Web disagrees with me strongly here. But I think one of the two main characters needed to die and the other guy needed to barely escape in order for this movie to have been awesome, right? Something tells me that's how the first Top Gun movie ended. And so maybe I'm coming from a totally uninformed place here. But I thought the ending was just slightly dragged out. The movie was like in the realm of realism, and in the last like 10%, it's like the main characters are going to become gods for just a short moment so that they can win, right? I sort of don't like that. But again, look at where it is on my list. It hardly damages the movie at all. Excellent movie. Top Gun Maverick, easily one of the best films of 2022. At number 2, it's going to be Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This movie was my number 1 movie from the moment I saw it up until the end of the year. This movie's fantastic. This movie is the multiverse movie of 2022. Sorry, Doctor Strange. Sorry, Sam Raimi. I really liked the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie. But this movie did the multiverse thing justice. This was such an awesome movie that is just so chaotic, but all the most important details shine through at every second of this movie. You'll find yourself saying, why am I crying at this movie? It's just a movie and it's so chaotic. I don't even know what's going on, but you do know what's going on. It's a very heartfelt movie. It's kind of even a family movie. I'm not going to spoil it too much. It's just, if you like really complicated movies that end up clicking in a very satisfying way and you want to feel emotions, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a movie you absolutely must see. And finally, the number 1 movie. Maybe it's kind of a good thing that YouTube and Twitch and every fucking website on the planet banned me from everything and forced me into a quiet, depressing solitude. Because in that solitude, I got to watch Bullet Train. And I'm so glad I did. Bullet Train is the best film of 2022, easily. I probably wouldn't have thought so had I not been banned and gotten the chance to watch it. Everything Everywhere All at Once would have been the winner. But I recently watched this movie. I just recently watched it and I know I love it. I will watch this movie many more times. I'll just make this short and brief. I've already reviewed this. I've already talked about it. I studied Buddhism in college. I studied meditation. And a lot of what I learned presents itself in this movie. There's a lot of very simple but very powerful messages in this movie. Brad Pitt plays an annoying yogi-like assassin where he's on his last job. I think it's his last job, and he's tired of doing this. He just wants this to be over with, and he wants everybody to just love each other, man. But everyone's just too focused in their own shit. Their own chaotic, toxic shit. What's hilarious about this chaotic, crazy action flick that's got a lot of blood and a lot of death is I feel like the ultimate point, the ultimate moral of this movie is if we all just took a breath and calmed down and analyzed the situation, maybe nobody would have to die and none of this would need to happen. It all culminates at the very end of the movie where the main villain wants to kill Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's just like, why? Why do you want to kill me? He's like, because you're Carver, and you were there when my wife died. And it's hilarious. The fact that this entire movie is just predicated on a misunderstanding. Dude, I'm not even Carver. Carver's on vacation. I'm just filling in for him. And you think the villain cares? He doesn't want to hear it. He's just like, you're not Carver? Ugh, now I'm just mad. I'm just toxic and mad, and I don't even have a reason for this toxicity and evil anymore, but I'm going to continue it. And it's just, it's so Buddhist. It's so powerful, but it just hit close to home, okay? This is my kind of movie. This is exactly my kind of movie. It reminds me of like Fight Club. There's a lot of hidden Buddhist themes in Fight Club, but I think the Buddhist themes are so much more in your face in Bullet Train. Anyway, that's my list of the best movies of 2022. This would have come out a lot sooner, but the internet is a scary place. You get banned for anything nowadays, okay? You don't know what is allowed and what's not allowed. Sometimes I react to stuff on stream For hours, it's fine. Sometimes I mention my favorite streamer, Destiny, and I get banned for a month and then almost permanently banned on Twitch. I'm lucky that I got my Twitch account back. I'm super thankful for that. But holy shit, what am I even allowed to do anymore? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Internet's a minefield, man. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Follow Punished Normie on Twitter. And let's get this bread. Follow oozePOP on Twitch, by the way, because I'm back, bitch.